Yeah, so we just spoke about like disadvantages, we spoke about communication, we spoke about trust, and those were like very very key and important topics. But I'd like to ask, were there some advantages like to being in a long distance relationships? Like, are there some advantages? Because it looks all bad and wrong, but is there? I'm sure there's some good out of it, and so were there some advantages? Like,
There is.
There were lots.
Okay.
So I think for me, one of the first advantages will be getting to know each other very well, having to talk.
Yeah.
With being with
That's just into,
someone,
like having to talk.
with being with someone physically, you can get distracted with the other
And move
physical
on.
things.
Yeah.
But when you don't have to see the person, you're only relying on what you hear from the person. So for us, we talked a lot about our families, our backgrounds, our dreams, our ideas, plans for the
Yeah.
future.
Emotional intimacy.
Yes, emotional intimacy.
Wow.
We grew in those areas. We were able to talk very well. Yeah. And I think so. That was for me. That's
Because
because
that's a very strong one. Because I mean, in marriage, that will play very big.
yeah. And these days, you find a lot of people who don't know their partner.
Yeah.
Not because they don't want to, but because they didn't spend enough time asking the questions that should be asked. So for us, that was all we had. So we had to ask those questions.
Really well.
We used yes.
And this is bent on communication.
Exactly. So we're still
That's
going
what I
back
mean.
to
We have to
communication.
fix communication,
Yes.
then actually discuss a wide range of
Exactly.
topics. That's a very
So
good.
that was
It's
a
very
good
wide
one for us.
range. Up to the point where
Good
you
advantage.
get to. You'd be surprised how you are thinking like the person. Like
Yes.
you can
Yes.
anticipate their own thoughts.
Exactly. You
What
can,
it
and he
is,
can sometimes
yeah.
tell me what I'm about to say, or know what I'm about to say, or I know what he's about to say. But then we wouldn't have that if we didn't spend that time talking.
Yeah.
So that's definitely an advantage of long distance. Because if we're together, we might just get carried away with other things. But with the phone, we get to talk. What else? Oh, definitely. Being away from. Well, I think it's just maybe like sexual purity and stuff
Yeah.
comes in.
Yeah. No, it's
great.
good though. I think so. No, is it abstinence?
Because this body.
As they say, no, it's
Yeah,
fine.
but
The
the
willing
body
is
be
Firewood, and the
Yeah.
spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak.
Yes. So I can imagine.
So I think maybe God probably just need that. These ones, let's just leave them. I think distance definitely was a good one, because that's the 11 times that we sing. There's no time to do anything. So yeah, basically I think with setting boundaries, we had set boundaries already, but really, what you can't keep anybody because you can.
And first, of course, there were still
Exactly.
things that you guys could do that were wrong. People send pictures and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, like
But
this helped.
Yes, the distance definitely helped. with
Distance
that.
was actually funny enough. This was an advantage.
It was
Wow.
another big advantage. But at the same time, the distance can be a disadvantage in terms of fears and then feelings. And I was saying to him, I think the thing was even still this morning. I was saying how with distance, sometimes you begin to lose or miss the feeling of either sexual attraction or physical attraction to the person with distance.
Yeah.
Because me, I know I can't be with someone I'm not sexually attracted to or physically attracted to. You say no, what are we doing really?
That it's part of it.
It's
So you
part
can
of
be
the
like
package.
numb.
Yes,
to
the
the
distance
person where you
can make
can-
you numb to it.
Wow.
For me, I didn't really experience it, but he did.
Wow.
At a time, I think he did. So I think it can be a disadvantage and an advantage.
So one has to still be careful.
It's not as though that
You stop loving.
Yeah,
the
you stop
person.
loving, but
You don't feel it as
no.
she gets, and then but when you see the person again, it's like, oh my god,
yes.
and then that's why you have to be careful because
sister.
It all rushes
do you
back into
understand?
Is this
You
you?
have to be careful in those times when you meet again because man,
Because what had been gone for so long,
you have it in front
now
of you
comes
now.
to you. I mean, even the feelings that you have that you had, maybe for so long they have been numb, but they come back and they come
They're
like
rushing in.
Rush,
yeah,
like
they
a
rushing,
rush.
and so you now have to like
Yeah,
calm
so
down.
for us, I think distance definitely helps.
Hold your
And I
blood,
remember I
bro.
was talking to him with one
Cool
of
the
our other
blood.
friends the other day, and we're saying how we're talking about love languages, and I told him how at the bottom of mine is physical touch, not because I'm not I'm not a
because
physical.
you're
It has not been
grown to
explored.
not-
Exactly.
Yeah.
I cannot have something on top if I've not explored it.
Yeah.
And distance has helped that.
Yeah.
There's no
This thing
extent.
about use and disuse. So
Mm.
because it has been disused for so long,
It
it's
just
almost
stays
like
there.
you're not even aware that there is a physical component to
Thank you.
see,
You
this-
understand.
liking somebody.
So, but yeah, that was an advantage and maybe a little bit of
Yeah.
disadvantage, but
It's a double-edged thing.
But then also when we had to see you, it's like you have to prepare yourself for that day going to see you, so that
Yeah,
you
yeah.
don't lose guard.
Don't lose guard.
Don't lose
So
guard.
you need to plan. It's not the random just came across each other visit and all that stuff. And stuff. So
We always plan our visits. Except he had surprised me a few times, but most times we would.
But I
plan
mean that
our
will even
visits.
help too because you have let's say 12 hours. You
Mhm.
get to see like now you said that there was a time that you guys saw for only one day, and I can imagine you have 24 hours.
Definitely.
So I mean like you had to plan that I will do so and so, and it must have been hard. Even being a Christian to factor in your planning that I will also kiss her or I also do these things. I mean you must have been planning. Okay, we'll do these things, and that should also help with some.
It helps with planning.
And like you said, preparing for, you know that these things are coming.
Exactly.
Back. You know that.
But
think
not like basically
it
it's
helps to-
hard.
It helps to just calm down. Sometimes even just talk about it, see how you do. I'm feeling somehow.
Yes, and we do that.
You talk about how you feel
In the
yeah,
moment, yes.
in the moment, so that help me.
Help me.
Help
I'm the one that is to help him.
I need.
Let me say, I'll
See,
cast
Martin,
you.
don't worry, guys. It's not easy.
Yeah, it's not easy, but
Guys, sorry.
It's
if
good
there's
to
any
have one
guys-
person that has
It's
good
watching
head.
to have to call
the guy watching this, I mean, like, don't think that your urges, don't think your feelings
ignored,
are
yeah.
are abnormal.
Normal.
No.
They are
You're very
real,
much
they
a
are
normal
natural,
person.
and they can be controlled. I mean,
Yes.
I think it's safe to just bring that here
It
because
can be controlled.
we were together, like yesterday, and we we're also talking about this thing that we don't know why girls don't really feel. They don't really feel.
to be
Or
fair,
maybe they do,
let
but
me say
compared to
from a
guys,
girl's
eh?
perspective, it's not like we don't. I was telling this man, I said sometimes for me, these feelings and everything, they play out in my head. When it's reality, it just doesn't. I don't know how to
So
explain it.
he's not getting to you guys where he's getting. So guys, man,
It's like,
it's
yeah,
not
No,
even
don't
in the
think that
end.
way.
It starts with the distance from the body.
That
Then
it
you have
is.
not there that more. We've gone. You have bring yourself back. That where did you people go to?
No, we feel it as
He
well.
said,
but I think
bring your
we
body
can,
on
maybe
that
we can just
control.
control it better. Maybe
Yeah,
that's it.
I guess so. So
I strongly believe that they can't.
yes, no, they can. There are some things that even happen, and I think even with this thing of like physical relationships and stuff, I think for girls, like now sometimes I don't know why some girls are touchy and you realize that they just come and put their hands on your shoulders, be it girls outside the relationship, and I mean even your partner. And when let's say you're in a relationship, your partner does like you don't know that thing.
Yes, yeah,
That is
actually.
strong.
Yes.
But for you guys, I'm like, it's that you don't know that this is.
We
it
do.
can affect.
It's the same way if your leg touches mine, definitely.
So,
I feel, you
okay,
feel
well,
it now.
And then also
Okay,
bottom line,
you mean
guys.
like when you're like a partner touch.
Yeah, like
Yes,
my partner
no.
now touching me
No.
like on the hand. I'm like,
It happens
ew.
to us too. I think we just
This
know how
is
to
very
hide it
good.
better.
Very,
Maybe we just know how to hide it better. Maybe that's it. We
I think
feel
so.
it, trust me.
But like it's
And you're
it's a-
hiding it, you're concealing it. Also, like
Helps.
helps
Yes.
you guys. But us,
and in a way, it actually helps. So it's I do that. Okay, like that this is not something you should
Yeah.
be doing right
Yeah.
now.
But at that time,
This person's own in quote stand face is like okay, calm down.
Exactly.
calm down. Yeah.
So
We
yeah.
So I
work
think that's
together for
very
good, to be honest. So yeah.
So I think that was a digression.
Digression.
But I mean, like feelings are real.
Yeah.
Even the best of Christians,
Yeah.
if there's any word like that, have these feelings,
And
but
physical
they can't be
attractions.
controlled. I mean,
Yeah.
and I think one of the things I learned, we've really digressed, but I guess maybe it's important. One of the things I've learned about this, feelings, flesh feelings, is the fact that first you need to embrace them, because the thought that I felt this way and so I'm
Bad.
impure
Yeah.
already shifts you
Yeah.
out. But when you think of it as, I feel this way, but it
It's
is body
normal,
now, body will be
exactly.
firewood.
Exactly.
But spirit still
And God
there
put those
to
feelings
now,
there.
Yeah, God put those feelings there to be
Feelings
expressed
there,
at a
expressed
particular
at that
time and all that stuff. So I think that's very important.
So our distance
Is
has
it?
been good.
That's been good.
Yeah, so
Really
so
helped
you
us.
see, there are good things in like. long
Yeah, they are
distance.
actually good things.
So maybe for some people, all you even need is
Is
long
that
distance.
only?
those things you've been doing too much. Maybe what you need is to relocate until it's time to marry.
Relocate.
Yeah,
that's
not
You
like
can
that.
pick your visa form now.
Now pick your visa from now, change school. You get
Wait.
apply for a job in Jos.
All the way.
All the way, yeah. So I mean, we're coming to the close of this book.
Yeah.
I mean, there are certain things we have been asking questions, but I believe there are some wisdom
Yeah.
tips that you guys want to just give based on your experience, some things that you feel like people should learn from or hold on to, or can help people navigate through the process of being in a long distance relationship. So what are some of these things that you'd like to share with us?
I think lay it all bare. Just talk.
Yeah.
And when you're talking,
Vulnerable.
that word.
Yeah, he has ever been hearing that word, and I would say it.
Be sincere.
Be sincere.
Be sincere.
Don't hide. Don't
Be transparent.
Be transparent. Yes.
It helps. It really does help.
Talk.
Because you're with someone that is not where you are, you can't explain. I can't tell you I've explained every single thing the way it is.
Yes.
Because I'm unable to. Not
But
because
you
I
can
don't want to.
try.
I can try.
Yes.
Understand?
It helps the other person
Helping the other
feel
person.
a bit more secure.
I'm much more involved in your life.
Yes.
Mm.
Definitely.
Very much more
Because
involved.
truth is like by virtue of separation, the person has been cut out of your life.
Exactly.
So you have to intentionally
Get the person back.
bring
in.
the person
Yes.
I don't really say it as much, but like that these days you tell me, oh, I'm going to this place, I'm
Mhm.
going to this place, and then like call at work, and I'm seeing her doing stuff, or just getting ready, and I'm like, okay, I just got ready.
Yeah,
I
literally
mean,
go
you're-
ready with
go ready.
you.
Yeah,
with you,
go
I'm-
ready with you.
and which indeed with at work,
Yeah.
I'm feeling like a part of this.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm working on, I've been working that farm period in my life.
Oh yeah, when he's on the farm, he just does some farm stuff. He
Some
call
farm
me, and then I'm literally just seeing him doing what he's doing.
Wow.
You just feel like it's like you're there basically, and I think it really helps.
It
So
helps really.
just be involved. That's one.
Keep person involved and you be involved as well.
Yeah.
Oh,
Second thing, I think another wisdom tip would be to have role models.
Yes, please. Yes,
Yes.
please. Yes.
Have people you're accountable to and people who you look up to, that you can emulate godly relationships from. Because while we talk about godly relationships, and I was saying that many of us know what godly relationships are because we've seen it from the church, we've seen it from people that we look up to. Some other people don't have those people that they look up to, so they sometimes will get it wrong. So that's one thing. If you are able to get role models, people that you can look up to, people you can talk to when you reach a wall and you're not sure what to do. These people have gone through this path as
So they
well,
will
so
actually
they
just
would
tell you
have
what to do.
yes. So having people you talk to is that cannot even, you can't throw it away. It has to be there. And the whole role models thing for me, my first view of what marriage should be, I'll still say on my parents, and they've modeled to me what
Is right.
what should be. So I'm learning. I was telling him that sometimes we used to have this thing where we pray, when we talk at night, we would pray before we sleep. And he would always want me to pray, but then I would push it to him like, no, you're the one that's going to pray. And sometimes it became an argument, and he really felt like I did not like praying. And I had to break it down.
Communication, because she broke it down.
And I told him, I said, it's not because I don't like praying. I want you to get used to being the head of the home. In my
So
own,
my dad did
my
this.
dad did this. But when we got to a certain age, he now began to let us lead the devotion in the morning. So we had rotations. But before that time, he would do it as the priest of the house, basically. So I wanted to help him get comfortable with being the one to do it, so that when he has to do it, it's not a problem. It will be a pattern. But then we'll get to a point where we begin to share it, but then it's not a big deal. When he heard me say that, he understood it from my perspective. Not because I don't want to. Is it prayer? Why would that be prayer? That would that
So is
be
it prayer?
prayer? Really? Do you get? So, but that was under communication. If I did tell him that, he would
won't
understand.
I just kept on thinking.
He just thought I didn't like praying. Do you understand? So, having that, for me, that was my parents' role modeling or showing me how to go. We have people, we have our opinion at TA. We have so many people that we admire. The only thing I feel like we haven't been consistent with or done so well is, having those role models and always talking to them consistently.
Those sessions.
Yes,
sessions,
we
yeah.
just after a while we just
We kind
didn't
of-
have them as
Yeah.
much, and we felt it. We felt like if we've seen places where we would not have been there if we
had
had
actually
those
spoken, or,
people guiding us or
Yeah.
helping
On
us,
a
and
regular.
we've talked about it, and you know what, we're going to have to put
Get
this
back.
back in place
That's
because
right.
we need it.
Yeah.
So and we won't be saying this now if we haven't seen that it's useful.
Yeah.
So having those people that you can talk to, and then you're accountable to
Yeah.
those people, not that you're just doing one-offs, but like you're
not that you just told
actually
them at the beginning, but there's actually
follow.
that
They know you started, but they know what's going on.
There's a
Exactly.
process,
There's
yeah.
a process, and we've not done that great in a while now, but we would put that back in place because
Yeah.
we know that it is
Very
very
important.
We will.
important. Yes, so
And there has to be a
accountability.
plan towards that. I think that's the next. The accountability was like the
Yeah.
second tip she gave. There has to be a plan for. This is wisdom tips, Abi.
Yeah.
Plan your meetings.
Mm.
Plan them up. What you want to do, the
Yeah.
goal. Have the goal in mind.
Don't leave it to chance.
Small goals, the big goals,
Big goals.
whatever. The goals for now,
The
goals
for
for
now, or
the
later,
end.
at the end.
Yeah, because like we said at the beginning,
Yeah.
dating with purpose. So everything, our meetings are purposeful. What we want to do, at our final destination, we have a purpose, and there's a goal for all of it. So
Yeah.
dating with purpose, please. Okay, so the next one would be praying together. This is godly relationships we're talking about here. So we have to go back to the foundations, go back to the basics, and learn to go back to God in the
Fellowship
place of
together.
prayer.
Yeah.
When we started this relationship, we started off with prayer, starting off with praying. Remember when we were P3 that time, we would have times when we would just go to the altar
Together.
and kneel down, just
Wow.
pray and talk,
That's cute.
commit,
Commit the
everything
next-
to next phase,
next phase
whatever
as
it
well.
was to God. But with me living, we didn't have that physical altar, so we had to build our own altar. But
Yeah.
the altar is really not the place; it's
It's the
the
atmosphere.
atmosphere.
Yeah.
I would say. So we had to build that, and what we'll do is when we talk every night, we would end with praying and all of that. We got to a time where when we had some hiccups here and there, it wasn't the same,
too
but
nice. And you know that something
yes,
is
you
definitely
know
wrong.
something is missing.
Something
But
is missing.
we just had to go back to where we
You know the
started.
solution.
We knew the
Exactly.
solution,
Yeah.
and the awareness of God. I'm sorry, I cannot overemphasize. It's just that awareness, like the fact that He's in this thing. You know what to do whenever you're stuck. We
It's-
know where to go whenever we're stuck, and we will get the solutions that we're looking
Mhm.
for. So we had that, and from praying together, we moved on to having Bible study together. Just
Wow.
having to
Yeah.
read the scriptures together and then talk about it, doing Bible plans
Yeah,
together.
make it very
Make it
interesting.
interesting. It doesn't have to be boring.
Go into the saying, let us learn. Let's try to see how we can learn more about
yeah.
This
this
particular
consistency or
Yeah.
strength or
Yeah.
about this particular thing. And then we also do character studies.
Yeah.
So
So I mean, you guys as in engaged in your spiritual development
Yes.
together.
Yeah.
Together, because
But-
we knew that we needed it for
Even
the
in
village. Yes, we needed
Yeah.
it.
But I think it has to be said that you should don't go for yourselves individually.
Yes,
Yes.
like I mean, there's the
Yes.
individual aspect,
Yes.
but there's also like
They're together as well.
being intentional about developing
Yes.
in God too.
Exactly.
I would say that even in the long distance, there was a time he had a major hiccup.
Yeah.
It was major. It was major, but I this is not me saying this to boast, but I would say that I played a key role in helping him during
Yeah.
that time. But if I didn't have my own relationship with God,
Yeah.
there was no way I could have done that.
Yeah.
Because we were not doing anything together spiritually at that time because of where he was.
Yeah.
So I had to depend on what I had with God, and that was what
And
helped
from
me
the poor.
pour. Exactly, you can't pour from an empty vessel, really.
Yeah.
So
So we must be, feel. I don't know why it happens to be, and I guess that's the mercy of God. How that when one person is struggling, it just happens to be that most times, more often than the other person seems to be.
Yes. Yes.
And sometimes even they are in their best.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's like they are on form. Even the
Yes.
person that is struggling is like,
Yes.
this place is actually
Ah.
just dishing out.
And it was good.
Rough time, but I really thank God for how she was at that point in time.
And it was long distance, but we
Long
walked it.
distance, we walked it.
Listen, you can find your way,
So,
and if you
I think
really want to.
Maybe we should start prescribing long distance.
Yeah.
You look
but-
like you need it long distance.
At least you're going through.
But it's been good, really. So
Yeah.
we did not neglect the word and the place of the word in
Yeah.
our relationship. That's one thing we cannot, rule out. The place of
think-
God.
It's one thing
Relationship.
that was said one time. I keep on going down back to, in the sense that I can't. If I am to tell you that my love for you will keep us going, I
Which
can't.
is what?
Yeah,
Did people say anything like that?
I trust in the love of God upon our lives and my life enough to keep us together.
Yeah.
You understand? That's it, man. I can't. You need.
I think that should be written on stone.
Yeah.
I think it's very important, like 10 commandments.
It's
If you break it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like, my love for you cannot
Yes.
be what
It
will
cannot.
sustain this
You cannot.
relationship. But God's love
God's love
for
for
us,
us.
yeah, I trust in God's love. I think that's very important.
Yeah.
I should, even me, I'll write it also.
I think another thing would be learning to listen on this. I'm just going to be saying if you were mentioning them, not saying you only, but then learning to understand the other person.
Yeah.
Okay.
Listen. Put yourself in the other person's
Shoes.
shoes. I think we've mentioned some of these things in the course of talking more.
Yeah.
Put yourself in the other person's shoes. Be what's the word? Empathetic
Yeah.
towards the other person. Emotions we shouldn't downplay, the role emotions play in relationships is very strong, and if you're able to understand the emotions, of your own emotions and the emotions of the other person, you're able to work around a lot of things. So learning, how to understand emotions is really
It's very
good.
key.
Something else. You can say something.
I want to add to what you said and say something else again. You'd actually understand that just learning a person's own emotions and being empathetic enough makes you relate like the person, become like the person almost. And you can know what this person would like in this situation.
Even before the person says or gives an
Yes.
hint. Yeah.
And you can just walk along those lines. You can have very, very fruitful days just based on what you know this person would like and wouldn't like. Another thing I would like to add is the fact that you should, I think this is just in case, I don't want to say for the guys because I don't like.
Just say generally.
Generally, if you're going to be in a position that you would consider questionable, inform ahead of time. I've told you about when I'm going to people's houses now.
Yeah.
And going to parties.
Yeah, he's
I'm
told me. And if I have a problem with him going to that place, I'll
You
tell
will
him.
let him know.
I remember there was one he was supposed to go for with his guys while he was doing house job. And I was like, nah, I'm not so sure about this. And he ended up not going. He realized by himself
Yeah,
that
I was going to say that sometimes that advice,
Yes.
that opinion.
Yeah.
you just need that second
helping.
opinion, yes. And really, all these things still goes back to communication and
Yeah,
talking.
and trust.
Trust.
That would
yes.
build a lot of trust. Like,
yes.
And,
this is about to happen now.
Mhm,
Going to so and so.
and even those things she mentioned, like there's something I had to have told her that people were asking and talking to me. When you see someone's actually coming towards you, you can't. I live to tell this
Don't hide
person.
it.
Don't hide it. So.
Because you get to a time when you can't control it, whatever
Yeah.
happens after. And is it that, not that it will be too late, but things could have just been
Yeah, to
avoided.
be complicated.
It will be complicated. So just be as open as you can, really. Trust God that He would see you through whatever. Like I'll keep saying, the pain of the now in long distance is nothing compared to the glory.
Yeah.
That lies ahead. We have a goal.
Yeah.
No, that glory I can't. No, for me, that's one of my major verses because I know. No, some days are really hard. I think I felt it's been the hardest in the last 1 year because I've been in a completely different country, so I felt it a lot more. I was living alone, and I didn't have my family.
Exactly.
Like
Like
I
it wasn't
would
just
have.
not
So
happy.
it was just
There was no comfort,
There was no
emotionally,
exactly.
the security, emotional security
It
and
was
everything.
so I
That's
felt it.
Ah.
There are days where I told him like I'm tired. Please,
Yeah.
when are we getting my? I'm
Yeah,
tired.
I got a question.
Because this
Tension.
it was just too
Right.
much. And I remember because we have things we have to do before then.
Yeah.
And you know what, we have to press play on some of these things so that we can get there real fast because I was just getting tired.
Yeah.
But then I remember that this pain, nothing compared. I guess we're going somewhere.
That's a very
Not going
big
somewhere.
one.
Just on that, like when your partner goes like really far away, you have that responsibility of filling gaps. and you should know that it's not her. Just not her. It's you. You have to, or him, or it's not just
Yeah,
the
that
other
yeah,
person.
the other
You
person.
understand? You fill in those gaps. You will be like, okay, how are you doing? Be the checking up person.
Yeah.
You understand? Be very active.
Be more intentional.
Be more intentional.
Yeah.
And
It can't be like the same.
it can't be the same
usual.
energy.
You need to make extra
Yeah,
effort.
extra efforts.
But then you might also get to a place where you might not even need the extra effort because you guys are
Yeah.
friends.
Yeah, yeah.
But at the beginning, try and
Yeah.
cushion the effect
The
of
person will be, I think she eventually got like other people that she was used to over there and all. Well, then
But
those initial
initial. Oh, we're talking every single day.
I was glad I wasn't too.
He wasn't too busy,
busy
so
at the
he
time,
had
so,
some time every single day.
We were calling on the phone.
We had a time. It was
We had
that.
a time.
That's
Yeah,
good.
so it was good. One thing I want to say, I'm sorry. As much as we've talked about these other spiritual and other things, I don't think we should neglect the place of meeting up and actually
Yeah.
hanging out together, go on dates,
Okay.
spend time together. See, we're human. We like. I mean, I don't know about the guys,
Yeah,
but we like to be
social-
pampered. We like to, be taken care of. So, well,
It
yeah, and we
does.
understand. So we won't ask you for more than. Well, I don't know why anybody, but
get you.
I won't ask for what I know that you can't handle at that time because I have an understanding of where we both are. So, but don't neglect the place of actually going out together. Spend time together. Be together. Those yeah.
There's a bunch that
Time.
I don't know, like when we were just talking the past few days we've been together. There's some things that just flow even better.
Yeah.
You would notice the facial expressions
Yes.
this time
Okay.
around.
So
Micro
there are some things that
expressions.
like
Yeah.
long distance video calls will not capture.
Yes.
That
Yes.
you would, just when we talk about like physical gatherings and
Mhm.
in church, so there are some things that you should still.
Yes.
So don't throw away
Don't throw away
physical
physical
At all.
meetings.
meetings.
At all.
That's why it's good to plan.
At all.
That you can have those physical
Yeah.
meetings.
Meetings and all.
Another thing about planning, not just the immediate present, the immediate and future rather, but the future.
Yeah.
You guys can be apart and then not plan on being together
Yeah.
properly.
Mhm.
So
I see that happen. Yeah.
Mhm.
yeah.
Mhm.
So if you are, for example, she's in Canada and thank God for medicine in Nigeria, we can write exams and go to places. Me too. If she's planning on having a career in Canada,
I begin to work towards
I will
going
work
to.
towards
Should be
Not that I'm
plan
going
to-
to the
So
UK.
long distances should not be left to chance,
Not left to
or
chance.
like there should be a definite plan to close
yes,
the distance.
you should be very intentional about
And
that.
I've told him, we're not doing long distance in marriage. Wherever you go, I go. Wherever I go, you go. Because
Yeah.
we've served the term already.
We've served the term already.
We're not doing it again.
That's
So, yeah.
very important.
Yeah.
That's very important. So I don't know, as we close this, are there certain scriptures or is there a particular scripture that I feel like has served as an anchor
Yeah.
or to hold you guys and that you'd like to share with us?
You want to go first?
Yeah, I think for me, the first one I mentioned is Psalm 46, verse 10.
Yeah, it's going for us.
And he said, for us, rather, and he says, be still and know that I am God. I've exalted in all nations, I've exalted in the earth.
Yeah.
That be still,
Be still is just the motto
Just-
for us, basically.
the motto really.
Honestly, being still, there's so many times that I want to react in certain ways on certain things, and I'm not joking. I actually just hear that be still, and I'm just just hold your peace on it. Or times when I'm in doubt. I did mention
Yeah.
that before. I've had doubts about this before,
Mm.
but that word comforts a lot, and because I know that God is preparing something. And sometimes people say, "Oh, how are you sure that He was in this and all of that?" There was just the comfort from Him, from His word, and things that He has said to me previously that He reminds me of about us. So
Yeah.
in the places of doubt, when we had doubt, be still really
Be
just
still.
came. It's just be still
Be
really.
still.
Be still,
Be still.
yeah. For me, one of you will be Romans 8:18, like I've mentioned it a lot of times already. The pain of
What you're going through now.
now is nothing
Yeah.
compared to the glory that shall be revealed in you. That's a major thing for me. I'm just holding on to that God who has started that which we're doing now would take us to the end of
Yeah.
it. Yeah, that's major for me. What else?
Another one that comes to mind is Romans 8:28. It's going going to all work out for your good.
Yeah.
Because you love God
Yeah.
and your call according to His purpose for your lives.
Okay.
And that's why you have to be purposeful about this entire thing. You are going to have to be purposeful about the entire thing.
Yeah.
And God will see you through. God will see you through. I think another one is Matthew 6:33 for me. Seek ye first the kingdom of God, His righteousness, and His to Him. Really, it's been very instructional. Apart from just the fact that you are wanting to get to this point with this person, like you want to know that as well. Like you have other things you want to happen,
Yes.
and be with you at this point where you get to be with this person in terms of like your finances
Yeah.
and jobs and all that, and just knowing that God's word says, as you seek His kingdom first,
These things will come.
Yeah.
these things will come as well.
Yeah. But it also brings us back to some of the things we were saying before, like how being with God has taught us how to even do relationship.
Yeah.
So if we're seeking Him first, then we don't really have to bother so much about some of these things, because we learn how to pour out the things He has taught us into the next person.
Yeah.
Also, it doesn't mean that we won't put in the work.
Yeah, that
The work
doesn't
is there.
absolve
But
you
at
of-
least you
of
have the idea,
responsibility.
yes, of what it is.
Yeah.
So I guess seeking Him first.
Seeking God first doesn't I would say that you should stop going to work.
No,
or-
no,
No,
Ah,
no, no, of course, of course.
You put in the work.
Put in the work. In all these things, God is very lovely, but He adds the things
Yeah.
that you're doing. Like He blesses the work of your hands. Okay.
Yeah, but I think that's very important. So thank you so much, Martin and Eunice.
You're welcome.
We hope to come to you guys' wedding very soon by the grace of God.
Amen.
We've learned,
Amen.
I believe I've learned so much, and I mean personally, this was not rehearsed. I mean, so
Yeah.
I actually got to sit down and learn, and I hope that you guys have been able to learn one or two things and all that stuff. I just want to crown this by saying that two things that really stood out for me, and things that they shared, was one, God, how like God was in the beginning, is in the process, and He's already waiting for them even at the end and stuff. And so the dependence on God, how they let God teach them to love each other, is just very profound. And the second thing is what relationships is really about, and that's love. How that in long distance relationships, one of the key things is about substituting yourself for the other person, thinking about the other person and considering what would this person like, what would this person need, and that'll be able to help you supply the person. Something gets my mind while they were talking, and that was how like when you're in a long distance relationship, it's like you're living two different lives, and your responsibility, so to say, is to see to it that you're actually not living two different lives. So you intentionally bring the person into your life and intentionally like go into that person's life, and I believe that helps a lot.
It does.
I don't know if this video has blessed you in any way. Please remember to like the video. I just realized that you need to like videos so that people can see. I didn't know before, so please like the video.
Like a video.
Press it now and stuff.
Now,
Then,
come, press that button.
Now. Then remember to share with your friends. Remember to share with your friends. Let other people be blessed by this. I have been blessed, and also remember to subscribe. Thank you so much. God bless you. I pray that you enjoy wonderful relationships, be it long distance, close ones, and I pray that all relationships generally will reflect, the relationship between Christ and the church.
Amen.
God bless you. We love you, and till next time.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.